Hi guys, I've had a request to do a video on depersonalisation and derealisation, and I thought I would have a go at doing videos for both of these things, but they're too lengthy a subject really to put all into one video, so I'm going to do them as two separate videos. I don't know if anybody will actually gain much in terms of tips on how to deal with depersonalisation, because it's something that I still experience now and I have experienced all of my life, so I'm not trying to advise anybody on how to deal with that, but I should certainly tell you how I try to deal with that. So okay, depersonalisation. I would say that although a lot of people have moments where they feel depersonalisation kicks in, I'm unfortunate in the fact that I've had depersonalisation all of my life, and it's probably only in the last 6 years perhaps that I started to recognise that it wasn't something that everybody experienced all the time. I naturally presumed that everybody was like me and everybody constantly felt detached from themselves. And for me, I don't consider it really to be a disorder as such. It's more of a personality trait, albeit at times an unwanted one. So for my experiences, I've always considered myself and described myself to other people as being, how would I describe it? Being absolutely detached from myself. Now, that doesn't mean unemotional. I am an emotional person, but I feel like I'm a separate entity that's floating around I'm completely disembodied. That's how I feel most of the time. I don't feel that I'm in contact most of the time with reality, but I've always attributed that to being an introvert, because obviously introverts are very introspective, so they spend a lot of their time, if not the majority of their time, and for some people all of their time, living inside their own heads, which is why I think a lot of us introverts tend to live slightly almost like hermits at time, because we gain our energy from being alone. So I've never really considered it to be a disorder, although obviously it's something that I found to be quite problematic. I would say that I don't recall the last time that I felt connected to myself, and that does to a certain degree frighten me, because it doesn't feel normal. I've always felt that I've been living inside somebody else's body. It's a strange description, I know, and I've always felt almost like my body is some kind of a robot that my brain is badly trying to control. So I always feel like I'm living my life either on autopilot or on manual, but when it goes on to manual, I forget how to do things that normal people can do without thinking. So I end up feeling like I'm walking around and I just don't know what's going on. Obviously that doesn't help when you're trying to make friends in social situations, because when you have heightened stress, the depersonalisation kicks in more, and the point that my social anxiety gets out of control, and that's usually to do with when people are invited somewhere I'm going that I didn't know about, or if there's a person in the group that I don't know, or I'm in an environment that I'm not used to and I don't know. When those sort of things kick in, I go into heightened depersonalisation mode, and I lose so much contact with who I am that my brain feels trapped inside my head. I have all of these thoughts, and I lose the ability to speak properly. I lose the ability to get outside of my head, basically. So everything starts getting out of control in my mind, and I'm thinking too many thoughts at once, and everything other than my thoughts essentially shut down. So it makes it difficult for people to communicate with me, because I feel like I'm manually having to make my mouth move for the words to come out, and I find it difficult to process thoughts. So I think as well, when I've gone through heightened stress with my health anxiety, I dissociate so much with my body that, and I think I have done more so in the last 10 years since I developed health anxiety, that I almost don't know how to, what to do with my body. I lose the ability to know how to dress and how to put makeup on, how to talk to people. I lose my identity. I don't know who I am. I don't know where I'm coming from, and everything gets very confusing, and I just feel like I'm trapped inside my own mind, and that I know that can be very difficult for other people. Usually with my health anxiety, depersonalisation kicks in at the point I'm on the verge of a panic attack, and gets quite out of hand, to the point that I feel like I'm looking at somebody else's body. I feel the same when I'm in the shower. When I take a shower, I feel like the person inside my head doesn't match the person that's got the body. So I don't know how to process, so I tend to go down the path of avoidance of myself. This whole dissociation thing with who you are is very difficult, because it makes you feel like you've lost a person that you used to know, because you know that you won't always like it. But obviously, as soon as it kicks in, it's very difficult to leave. I think when I went on to antidepressants back in 2002, it was the depersonalisation that actually made me want to come off of medication, because I felt like a zombie. And although I'd had it previous to that, it got so out of hand that I had to come off all medication. But unfortunately, since that point, I don't feel like I've ever really returned to who I was. And I don't feel like I've ever really contacted me since that point. So I would say the thing that has actually benefited me the most in the whole journey of dealing with depersonalisation is actually making these videos, because I think there is no better way to reattach your mind to your body than to view videos of yourself, which I can only imagine most people avoid or don't come in contact with. Because through viewing videos of yourself, it can be a really good way to actually start to reassociate with who you are, because a lot of us don't even take the time to view ourselves how other people see us, and we're afraid to do so in case we don't like what we see. And I think that's because, I know for me, I believed it's because I couldn't change my behaviours or anything, so I was stuck with the personality I had, and therefore I wanted to avoid it because I didn't want to confront the truth. So I've found that making videos is very good as a form of self-acceptance. And when I say self-acceptance, I'm talking like not just who you are or what your values are, but who you physically are to other people. So viewing yourself on video is sort of unfiltered reality, and it's hard to ignore. And I think that once you start making videos, even if you were to record them for yourself and never show them to anyone, the process of exposing yourself to yourself by rewatching videos of yourself talking is a very good way to start to process that you are the same person. Because I think for a long time I felt like I was this disembodied entity, and I had no attachment or no involvement with my body. I think since doing this, I've actually learned a little to reassociate the two. so that I feel more present in the moment and more able to control my body along with my mind as opposed to just my mind. So I'd be interested to hear your experiences, and I shall attempt to make a video now on derealization and see whether or not I can make any sense of what I'm talking about. Okay, so I shall speak to you guys later. All right then, bye bye.